So, how would you like to work in your career field before graduation, earn elective credit towards your graduation requirements, and get paid by a local employer partner? If this is something that attracted your attention, then you definitely would like to know more about the work-based learning program at Wake Tech. Every semester, we have over 100 students who participate across several divisions of our college. We have students from our Health Sciences division, our IT division, our New Transportation Technologies division, our Applied Engineering Technologies division, as well as students from our Business and Public Services Technology division who participate in our work-based learning program during fall, spring, or summer semesters. So let's learn more. A lot of students begin by asking, how do I know if I'm eligible to participate in the work-based learning program? So what we're going to do this morning is to look at our eligibility criteria to first of all make sure that you're a student who is eligible to participate in the work-based learning program. We'll go through some other steps that you'd have to complete, and hopefully by the end of our time together today, you'll understand a great deal more about participation in the work-based learning program. So what you'll see with number one is I've listed our Wake Tech work-based learning eligibility criteria. You do, first of all, check and make sure you're an approved program of study. And our work-based learning website, which I've put in our chat box, the wbl.waketech.edu is our work-based learning website. And if you go to our student tab, you'll be able to see our list of approved programs. And we'll probably take a look at those time permitting by the end of our time together today, at the end of the session. You must have completed 14 credit hours in your major requirements. You must have a grade point average of 2.0 or higher at the time that you submit your application, and by the end of the semester prior to you participating in work-based learning, it still must be a 2.0 or higher. You must obtain approval from your faculty advisor. You must also be a student who's in good standing with the college and not have violated our student code of conduct on the moderate or major level. If you're a student who at some time participated in work-based learning in the past and were ever terminated by an employer, you would have to go through an appeals process to determine your eligibility to participate again in the future. You must be legally authorized to work in the United States. And if you're a student who's here on a student visa, you just want to make sure that you have the type of student visa that permits you to work in the United States and that you have enough work hours remaining on your student visa to be able to work the required number of hours you need for your academic credit. And finally, one thing I point out for those students who might be in our university transfer program, which would be Associate in Arts, Associate in Science, Associate in Fine Arts, Associates in Engineering, our new Associate in Teacher Education Preparation Program, these students are not eligible for work-based learning. Work-based learning is not a college transfer credit, so our four-year partners do not accept work-based learning as a course. So unfortunately, students in that program, any of those programs of study, are not eligible for participation in work-based learning. So when you review our eligibility criteria and you say, hey, I think I'm eligible, what do I do next? Your next step is to submit our work-based learning application. And you would want to do that this fall before November 1st, because that's the deadline for us to look at your application and determine whether or not you're eligible to participate in the upcoming spring 2022 semester. Now, within each of those divisions that I mentioned earlier, there is a faculty coordinator for each department within those divisions. And on our website, we have a Contact Us page that lists the faculty coordinators for those various departments within each division. So you would simply go there to find who is the individual who's your faculty coordinator for your department, and that's who you submit your application to. I hope we'll have time at the end so I can show you the forms, because the forms are also located on our website, wbl.waketech.edu, under the student tab. So you check the criteria, you said I'm eligible, you submitted your application to your faculty coordinator. What do you do next? Well, in order to participate in work-based learning, you must either have employment currently in your career field, or you have to find employment to use before the start of the semester that you plan to participate in work-based learning. So if you submit your application this fall, you would have up until January, when the spring semester begins, to have employment secured to use for your work-based learning site. And finally, after your application is approved and you have found employment, there are 2 remaining work-based learning documents that you'll send to your faculty coordinator, who at that time would then give you an override to register for your work-based learning course. If you've ever looked at work-based learning and tried to click on it and add it to your list of courses, you'll find out you get an error message. It is a petition granted course. So you have to be given an override to be able to register for any work-based learning course at Wake Tech. Here's a common question that I get from a lot of students. I'm qualified to participate in work-based learning, but what if I don't have a job? Well, since students must find their own employment, I strongly encourage students to take advantage of our Career and Employment Resource Office. There's an individual on each campus who's called a career specialist who can meet with students. And since the spring of 2020, when COVID kind of changed a lot of things for all of us, our career specialist can now meet with you virtually as well as in person, again, on each of our campuses. So you want to make sure that you make an appointment to start this process with a career specialist. A good place to start is by having someone take a look at your resume. And you say, well, Ms. Frederick, what if I don't have a resume? That's okay. They will help you to create a resume. Maybe you have an old one and it's not current, it's not up to date, you're not sure how good it might be. So that's, again, another thing they can do. They can critique it and offer you suggestions for how to improve it. So you can certainly get started by having a great resume, because a lot of employers, that's how they first screen their applicants. They take a look at the resume in addition to maybe an application that you've submitted. When you're with our career specialist, you want to let them know that you are looking for employment to use for the work-based learning program. They can introduce you to Wake Tech's online job board. In case you didn't know it, we have our own version of LinkedIn or Indeed.com here at Wake Tech. We happen to call it College Central Network. So this is a place where employers in our county and surrounding counties want to hire Wake Tech students. So they go in and post their job opportunities on our online job board. So that's a great place to start. And I tell students, it's just like all the other job boards that you're already familiar with, it changes. So you might look today and say, well, I don't really see anything I'm interested in. By this weekend, there could be 3 or 4 new jobs in your career field that have been added. So you'll want to get used to looking there on a regular basis. You can always look on your own on other websites. It doesn't have to be through Wake Tech's online job board. You can use other search engines to look for part-time or internship opportunities. Now, as you're job searching, I always tell students, be prepared. You never know when an employer is going to contact you and want you to come in or have a virtual interview or a phone interview with them. So very early on in the game, you want to get prepared by doing a practice interview. And again, you can let our career specialist know, hey, I'm searching for a job for work-based learning. I really haven't done a lot of interviewing and I'm nervous or uncomfortable or I don't feel confident in my answers. Can you help me? And I tell students this is probably one of the most important things you can do even if you don't participate in work-based learning, because it helps you get prepared for the time that you leave Wake Tech and you are looking for employment. You know how to do a job search, you have a great resume, you know how to do a practice interview, and importantly, you know how to follow up with employers after you've interviewed for the job. So again, make an appointment, get that interview scheduled so that you practice with one of our career specialists. We don't want you to have your first interview with an employer you really want to have a job offer come from, because if you use an employer for practice, it might not turn out as well as you hope. And then finally, make sure you ask for assistance in how to follow up with employers after you've interviewed with. Okay, let's say I went for an interview today. How long should I wait for that employer to let me know if I've gotten the job? Did I ask the right questions during that interview? Do I know what the next steps are? So again, these are all important things that you can review, discuss, and practice with our career specialist. Well, there are other ways other than just using our career and employment resource career specialist. Many departments at Wake Tech have their own job boards, send out job announcements. So if you're paying attention to your Wake Tech student email or your Blackboard courses, you're probably going to notice that you're getting information already about potential jobs from your department. So make sure you pay special attention to any deadlines to apply or special criteria that you need to meet when you're submitting either your resume or your application. Going back to our Career and Employment Resource Office, they host a lot of employer information events. And you say, what is an employer information event? I never heard of that. Employers in our area want to connect with students at Wake Tech to find out, hey, would you be interested in working for my company? Let me tell you a little bit more about what products I produce or what services I provide. And let me tell you what a employee who works for my company typically does every day on the job. What kind of salary ranges could you expect if you work for my company? What kinds of skill sets are we looking for when we hire people? This is the type of information that you would learn by attending an employer information event. Now, in the past, again, pre-COVID, we had them for various departments. For example, our IT division out at our RTP campus, we hosted a lot of these kinds of events, and some big name employers came out to join us. And you'll find that they're typically held in the fall. Our Career and Employment Resource Office also schedules career fairs. This past spring, they were virtual events. We're hopeful that in spring of 22, we can have them again be face-to-face. And if you never attended a career fair at Wake Tech, you should. You should try to look for an opportunity, if they're not face-to-face this spring, to do one virtually. Because again, it's a great way for you to interact and engage with employers. You can chat with them. Even if you're not really looking for a job right then, you can still walk by and talk to them and say, hey, why should I want to work for your company? What's it like to be an employee of your business? What degrees are you looking for? How strong is my resume right now? What would I need to do to improve if I wanted to get hired by you? And those are the kinds of things that you can find out by attending a career fair. You don't have to wait until the spring that you're going to graduate to go to a career fair. You can go at any time in your academic career at Wake Tech. And then finally, as I mentioned previously, you can use other job search engines to look for part-time opportunities that you can use for your work-based learning experience. Again, right now in Wake County, it's a job seekers market. If you're looking for a job, now is a great time because a lot of companies are having challenging times finding workers to fill open positions at their companies and businesses. You can go pretty much anywhere in Wake County and see help wanted signs or notice that people are offering sign-on bonuses for new employees. So a lot of employers who in the past would have said, no, I'm only going to hire a graduate. I'm hearing from more and more employers who say, I want to get to your students early. how soon can they start to work? I want students from your work-based learning program. So now is a really prime opportunity for you, if you're eligible to do work-based learning, to participate, get some great experience with these companies, get paid by the employers, and again, have that credit count towards your graduation requirements. So let's say you found a job and you've gotten your paperwork submitted to your faculty coordinator. A lot of students then say, well, there's a whole lot of work-based learning courses that I see. I don't know which one I should register for. How do I know which one is the correct course? And that is a very good question to ask. And there are a couple of factors that are going to determine which course you should register for. The most important one will go back to your program of study at Wake Tech. When you look at all the courses in your program of study that you must complete in order to be awarded your degree, you may notice that you have elective credits. And in those elective credits, you'll see WBL courses listed. You might see WBL 111, WBL 111 and 121, WBL 111 and 112, maybe WBL 111, 112, and 113. So you'll want to look at your program of study to find where are my elective credits related to work-based learning. In a limited number of courses, or programs of study rather, at Wake Tech, it's a requirement to participate in work-based learning before graduation. So some students are required to take work-based learning before they complete their program of study. When you fill out our application, you'll want to make sure that you indicate how many hours you're eligible to work. And I encourage students to think about the optimal semester to participate in work-based learning. For a student who's taking 4 classes, maybe they already have another part-time job, they have to work 15 to 20 hours a week, they might have some family responsibilities, that might be a lot to juggle in addition to signing up for work-based learning. So you want to think about all the available time you have in a week. How much is committed to Wake Tech and your courses? How much might be committed to other things as far as family commitments? What other requirements do you have? And then look at realistically, how much time do you have left to work and participate in work-based learning? Now, as a rule of thumb for students who say, well, how many hours do I have to work to get this academic credit? You'll see the last bulleted point tells you exactly. If you're trying to earn credit for work-based learning 111, which is a 1 credit hour course, you must work at least 160 hours in the semester, and that applies to fall, spring, and summer. If you're trying to earn credit for work-based learning 112, which is a 2 credit hour course, you have to work at least 320 hours. Again, doesn't matter if it's fall, spring, or summer semester. And finally, there are a limited number of programs at Wake Tech that have work-based learning 113 in their program of study, and that requires a student to work 480 hours in 1 semester. So you'd pretty much be working full time. So you and your faculty coordinator are going to determine the correct course for you to sign up for based on how many hours you'll be working for your employer and which course of work-based learning is in your program of study. So what happens after you register for the course? Well, work-based learning is like any other academic course at Wake Tech. You have to make sure you pay your tuition by the deadline, or either have financial aid or your VA benefits in place so your course isn't dropped. When the semester begins, you take a course entry quiz for your work-based learning Blackboard course. You review the syllabus, orientation video, do a little quiz for your instructor via Blackboard. And here's what's different. You begin working. So work-based learning is a course, yes it is, but the course involves you working in your career field. So it's not a course that you just come to campus or have an online course and you talk about working. You are actually working in your career field. Now, I'll get emails from some students sometimes after sessions, and they'll say, well, I thought you said the course is working. Why do I have a Blackboard course for work-based learning? Well, the Blackboard course is for you to record your hours and complete other basic assignments. So it's not writing papers, it's not doing research projects, it's not reading books or poetry and doing analysis of those things. The course is you working for your employer, but we have to have you record your work hours on timesheets that we have in the Blackboard course. You're asked to do a midpoint evaluation of how things are going at work. You do a final evaluation of how things are going at work, and you complete a short survey at the end of the semester. And that's pretty much the extent of the assignments you do for your work-based learning course. So when I say course, I know a lot of people are like, how am I going to do a course in work? It's not a Blackboard course in this sense that you have tons of assignments to do for the course. The other thing to make you aware of as far as work-based learning, it is a pass-fail course at Wake Tech. It does not carry a letter grade like other academic courses. Now, another question I get a lot of times from students is, can I keep working after the semester begins? Well, some students who use their current employer for work-based learning, nothing changes for them. They're still working there. But let's say you're a student who you found a job to use for your work-based learning experience. What happens at the end of the semester? Well, a couple of things can happen. Your employer can say, hey, you did a fantastic job. I want you to stay on and still continue working here. Can you do that? And it would be up to you to decide if you could manage to continue working in another academic semester based on your schedule and other commitments that you have. So you could decide, hey, I'd like to take this offer. This is great. I would like to keep working. Or you might say, you know, this has been great, but unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to keep working next semester because I have so many classes and so much going on. But could I put your name down as a reference on my future employment applications? Now, some employers may say, hey, you know, you did a great job for us, but we're all caught up on the projects that we had. So we don't have any additional work for you to do, but thank you for being a great employee. And at that time, that would be the conclusion of your work for that company. So you want to keep in mind, if you find a job to use for work-based learning, there's no guarantee of permanent employment. It does happen a lot of times that students are offered the opportunity to continue, but there is no guarantee. Now, for those students who said, can I still get more work-based learning credit if I keep working? And I say that depends. It depends on how many elective credits are in your program of study for work-based learning and how many credits you have remaining. And this is a good question for you to discuss with your faculty coordinator or your faculty advisor to go back and look and see how many elective credits you have remaining and can you use more for work-based learning. Now, I did want to point out there are a lot of companies who look for students from our work-based learning program this fall. Dell is one of those companies who happens to be looking for students to be interns. What Dell calls co-op is our work-based learning program. So they are looking for students who can participate with them. And a person who is one of our students, you'll see her name here, Sharon, asked if I would include her contact information. If you'd like to learn more about working for Dell as a work-based learning student, you can contact her. You'll see her email address here if you want to get in touch with her to find out what kinds of opportunities they may have to offer. She did mention to me, now Sharon happens to be in our cybersecurity program, and that they are very interested in talking to more cybersecurity students at Wake Tech. So I know if you're a cybersecurity student, you should definitely reach out to Sharon and see what Dell might have to offer you. So I just thought I'd throw that in there for those of you that say, oh, are there any big name companies? Yes, we have connections with a lot of big name companies. Now, what if you still have more questions? Well, we're going to go to our work-based learning website after I take a pause to answer some of your questions. And if you didn't feel comfortable today asking me questions, you can certainly reach out to me at my email address, and I will add that to the chat box as well. So if you want to email questions to me directly, I'm more than happy to answer those questions for you. One thing I'd encourage all students that have work-based learning in their program of study is to seriously consider finding a way to participate before graduation. I hear a lot of students who say, you know, I graduated from Wake Tech and it's challenging. Employers want me to have experience. How do I get experience? I just graduated from Wake Tech. I don't have experience in my career field. Maybe I have other work experience, but not in my program of study. And I say the work-based learning program is a great way to get experience to put on your resume, to put on future job applications. You make connections with people in your career field. You can boost your LinkedIn account by connecting with people. You can get to know people, and your supervisor potentially could be a great reference for you in the future after you graduate when you're applying for other roles that you might be interested in. So I feel like work-based learning for those students who have the time, who have transportation, who have the ability to participate, it is a wonderful opportunity for you to get experience in your career field, affirm that you made the career choice that's right for you, and be able to get some extra income and earn some credit towards your graduation requirements. One thing I want to point out, even though we're going to take a look next at our work-based learning website, I wanted to remind you that we are at our Q&A portion of today's presentation. So after I give you a chance to scan the QR code here, keep in mind that by attending today's session that you can enter in for our prize drawing. And if you will please make sure you note the name of your session, work-based learning information session. So I'm going to just keep pausing here for just a moment to make sure that anyone who's interested in doing the survey has time to scan that QR code that'll take you to the survey and enable you to complete it and enter in our work-based learning information session as the session that you attended today. So I'll just pause just for a few more seconds for anyone who still needs to do that. And then I'm going to take questions. And then we are going to take a look at the work-based learning website so you can find the information about our approved programs. You can again see the eligibility criteria that we reviewed, and I'll show you where to find our application and the other forms that we use. Okay, so let's go back and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have at this time. If you'd like to use the raise your hand icon, you can. And I'm going to scroll up and see if there are any questions that anyone has so far. And I see Anne, you have a question. What's your question, Anne?
Oh, I think you talking about me. My name's Ame.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
I don't have my contact lens in today, and you can
No worries.
tell I'm not reading up close real well. I apologize. What's your question?
It's okay. I was in a class. I missed the first 15 minutes. You recording the session? Will it be available afterwards? Or how does that work?
Yes, it will. I'm under the impression that our advising staff will have it posted to their YouTube account. So yes, it will definitely be available for students. And we have recorded it since the beginning, so you'll be able to see the whole presentation.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for your question. Any other questions before we jump over to our website? Well, let me pull up our website. And again, it's simple and easy to remember. It is wbl.waketech.edu. So you should be looking at now our work-based learning website, which is located on Wake Tech's page. And you notice if you scroll down over on the left-hand side, there are some categories that you can choose from. You can choose the Student tab, Employer, and Contact Us. Obviously, we're going to be looking primarily at the Student tab today, but I did want to point out, for those of you who enjoy going to YouTube or TikTok to look at videos, when you have a few free moments in your day, please take a look at our work-based learning video. I'm not going to play it. It lasts about 4.5, 5 minutes, which isn't terribly long, but you'll be able to see 4 students from Wake Tech who talk about their experience having participated in the work-based learning program. There's a student from Culinary Arts who talks about her job working for a local bakery, and the cakes that she decorated are just phenomenal. We have a student from our Transportation Technologies division who talks about in a previous summer how he worked for an employer and the skills that he took from what he learned in class and put on the job. You'll see another student who's from our office administration program who actually got hired and was administrative assistant at Wake Tech. And the last individual that you see in the video happens to be kind of a career changer, a man who, he doesn't talk about it in the video, but he was a roofer and he came back to Wake Tech and entered our IT division and was pursuing a degree in network management and got a job at NetApp. After the video was produced and on our website, he let me know that he was offered a full-time role at NetApp and is still there. So he's, a big success story and one like many other of our students that we're very proud of. So let's take a look at our student tab now. And again, there's some menu choices on the side. We've already talked a lot about the benefits. The student responsibilities are listed here for you so that you begin with the application. Once you find employment, then you will be submitting your agreement and employment sheet as well as a measurable learning objective sheet. Again, our application deadlines are here for you. So if you said, well, I won't be ready by spring semester, but maybe by next summer I'd like to participate, all of our application deadlines are here for you to review. Again, our credit hours, work hours, and grading. Again, remember, work-based learning is pass-fail, so it's not a letter grade, but you still want to make sure that you complete all the assignments and get satisfactory evaluations from your employer so you'll pass. Here's the review of how many hours you have to work for your credit hours. And then this briefly talks, as we've already said, about the work-based learning Blackboard course. So let's take a look now at our eligibility criteria as a review. You know where to find it now. We've already reviewed it, but in case you're wondering or you forgot something, here is again the list of our eligibility criteria to make sure that you meet. And now you'll see again that note, if you're in our university transfer programs, you're not eligible to participate in work-based learning. Here are our programs at Wake Tech where work-based learning is a requirement. You must participate in work-based learning if you're in one of these programs before you graduate from Wake Tech. Now, if you're in any of the other programs you see listed here, work-based learning is an elective. You could take another academic course or you could choose to participate in work-based learning. It's your choice. So you'll see we have a very long list of degree programs at Wake Tech and a couple of diploma programs as well that offer students the opportunity to participate in work-based learning prior to graduation. So hopefully you have seen your program in this list as I was scrolling either under the elective courses or under the required courses. So again, this is where you want to look and see, is my program one that offers work-based learning? And if you find it here, then again, you just want to check and ensure that you meet the eligibility criteria. And then if you do, you'll want to go to our forms page. And what you'll want to do is to begin by completing the application. And I'm only going to open the application just to show you they're easy to complete forms. They are fillable. You could actually type this in on your computer and fill it all in, save it, and then send it to your faculty coordinator. So you'll see the boxes highlighted here that you'll want to include all the information. Be sure to put down what your program of study is as well. If you're pursuing more than one degree at Wake Tech, indicate what your secondary program of study is. If you're thinking you want to participate in the spring semester, of course, you'll just include that. Remember, we want to know how many hours are you available realistically to work. If I'm not currently employed in my program of study, in my career field, I'll say no. And if I'm not working in my career field, then I'm not going to be doing it with my current employer. Unless you're here on a student visa, you're automatically going to have work authorization. And if you are here on a student visa, if you're on an F1 visa, please let us know. But if I'm not, I'll say no. Since I said I'm not currently employed in my career field, I would leave all of this blank. However, if I am currently employed in my career field, notice I'll want to also include my position description. Please make sure you read over our statement of understanding, and then you'll want to make sure that you put the date, and notice that it won't let you sign here. We do accept digital signatures at Wake Tech. If you don't have a digital signature, you can certainly print it out, sign it, and then scan it and send it to your faculty coordinator. So you'll just want to make sure you include your date and then whatever the email address is for your Wake Tech student email account here. The second page of our application you leave blank because that's completed by your faculty coordinator. So it even says faculty approval for work-based learning experience. So you don't have to fill it in. You're only going to be filling in page 1 of the application. And when you find employment, there are 2 additional forms that you'll want to complete and turn in to your faculty coordinator. And if you're saying, who's my faculty coordinator? Remember, if you go to Contact Us, you'll want to scroll down, find your division, and say, okay, here's my program of study, here's my faculty coordinator, and this is a person I would send my application to. This is a person who will let me know if I meet the eligibility criteria for the semester I indicated. And this is a person I will work with who will also be my instructor for my work-based learning Blackboard course. So you'll just simply look through our list and find your division with your faculty coordinator's name. So, final thing, if you need just a quick review, the steps to apply, it's a lot to read, but if you skim over it quickly, you'll certainly be able to see all along the way what you need to do in order to participate in Wake Tech's work-based learning program. So everything that we've covered today is listed here. So it would be a great place to review if you said, okay, I submitted my application, what should I do next? Okay, if I'm looking for a job and I found a job, then what do I do next? So this will certainly outline the steps for you so that you stay on track and know where you need to be all along the process. So again, this is our work-based learning website, and it provides a great deal of information for you, our student. So at this time, I'd like to come back, take any questions that there might be, and answer those for you, and see if there's any final questions I could answer for you. Any questions that I'm missing that I don't see in the chat? Well, we have hopefully shared a lot of information. Oh, let's see, there are some questions in the chat. So let me take a look and see what those questions are. Okay. Let me start up at the top with our earliest question. What if I work full-time? Should I choose work-based learning 113? That's a great question. Thanks for answering. I would say this would be a good question to ask your faculty advisor or faculty coordinator, because remember, it depends on how many elective credits you currently have in your program of study and how many elective credits you may have already used. So if you have 113 in your program of study, but you only have one elective credit hour remaining to use, then it might not be possible for you to get credit for 113. You might have to choose instead work-based learning 111. So that would be a question that you can do some research on, but you certainly would want to talk to your faculty advisor or your faculty coordinator to say, hey, I'm working full time. Can I get credit for 113? And they're going to need to look at how many courses you've already completed in your elective credit category, what you have remaining, and that hopefully will work out for you to get that credit. Thank you for asking that, Christina. Okay, let me see. She says, I may have misunderstood. If I plan to transfer to a university after graduation from Wake Tech, I'm not eligible for work-based learning. That is correct. If you are in our university transfer program, associate in arts, associate in science, associate in engineering, associate in fine arts, work-based learning is not in your program of study. So unless you are also pursuing another degree that's in our associate in applied science side of the college, you would not be eligible. So let me go down and grab another question. Are all eligible applicants for work-based learning accepted, granted the registration override, or is it limited enrollment? It is not limited enrollment. So if you meet the eligibility criteria and you find employment, we're going to place you in work-based learning. So we don't have a cutoff to say the first 5 people in our culinary arts program who apply are the only 5 who get in. That is not correct. We take every student who's eligible, who has found employment or is currently working in their career field. We take all of them. So there is not a limit. There's no cutoff. So it is not a limited enrollment program. Okay. Any additional questions? If you are in our Associate in Applied Science program, then yes, more than likely you have a major that you saw and you hopefully on our list, and I can pull that back up real quick for you all to take a look at to see that you find your program of study there, because that's the key. You want to look at our list of approved programs, and if you see your degree program listed there, then you'll know you are eligible to participate once you meet the other eligibility criteria. So you have to be a student in one of the degree programs that you see in this long list, either as an elective or you have to be in one of the programs where it is a requirement. So once you take a look at that list, hopefully you see your program of study there and you'll know that you are eligible to participate in work-based learning. Let's see, did I miss any other questions? Think that's it. Let me include my email address so that if you have specific questions and I did not address or answer that question for you today, please feel free to shoot me an email and ask me your specific question. Again, I'm Kathy Frederick with Work-Based Learning. I greatly appreciate your time today to join us. I hope you've learned a lot about work-based learning at Wake Tech. Hope I've been able to answer your questions, but if you need further assistance, please don't hesitate to let me know. Hope the remainder of your fall semester at Wake Tech is very successful, and I hope I'll see you as a participant in work-based learning in the near future. Thanks again. Bye-bye.